Good evening, this is Nicolina Nix, and you're here with another episode of Women, Wit, and Wine. Um, Tonight's episode, it is just me tonight, is called Everybody Has a Story. Everybody's got a story. So, and what prompted me to do this was I recently took a trip for work to Phoenix, and I met a young man there, and I took the time and I listened to his story, and I found it to be very heartbreaking, but a lot of it hit home. So, uh, the talk we had, he had lost a friend, and he had last week or a couple of weeks ago, I think, from his story was he had drank a lot and taken some Xanax, and so really for me it hit home because it was a suicide attempt for him. I'm grateful that he's here today. I'm grateful that he shared his story with me. It's been kind of an emotional couple of days for me because it hit home. Because I've been there. It's not that he I lost a friend, and he was feeling that he he wished it were him, and I talked to him and I listened to him, and I told him that I believe that the universe had bigger plans for him, and I mean, what do you do in a moment like that? When I left there, I felt pretty good about what had transpired, but the days after, I felt my heart was heavy because I wondered if I had done enough. Because I don't know if I had done enough. Before I left, I went back to hopefully see if he was there again. And he wasn't. I gave him my card, but silly me, I should have gotten his number just so I could call and check on him. It's hard because this hits home, and this kind of, I kind of talked about it last week, and I don't really know what more I could have done. I hope that I did enough, but sorry. My heart is heavy, and I just kind of I pray and I meditate that he's okay, and hopefully he'll reach out to me and let me know that he's okay. It's interesting because I myself, and I've talked about this on the show a lot, that I suffer from depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and PTSD, and it's tough out there. It's tough when you're in that hole, and when you feel like you can't get out of it, and nobody really understands what you're going through, the pain that you're suffering from. I know that for me, I mean, I think it's different. It's definitely different for everybody. Uh, and for me, it's this black hole uh, that I fall into, and although it's kind of a small hole, um, I let myself live there while I'm in that moment, and uh, as even though I'm trying to get out of this space in me, um, I the more that I try to get out of the hole, the deeper I dig, uh, until there's just no escape, and then something drastic happens. I do something drastic. Um, I've spent years with depression. I think I remember the first time I sat in a therapist chair. Um, I was 5 because I couldn't cope with my parents' divorce. Um, you know, and I remember going to a therapist every week, figuring out how to cope, and it's just been kind of an ongoing cycle of my life, and being in and out of those moments of not wanting to go on. It's I don't I don't even know how to begin. Uh, where you are in that moment. Um, I mean, it's very interesting because there's the song that by the Goo Goo, I think it's the Goo Goo Dolls. Um, and there's the line that says, "You bleed just to know that you're alive." Um, and in many cases, that's very true for some people that suffer from depression, uh, who are so numb because they're overwhelmed with their pain, and they're in this abyss of feeling lost and disconnected and detached. I mean, for some cutter, I think for some people who cut, the possibility is it's that it's that reassurance of knowing that you're alive, because you kind of you see the blood, um, but you know where do you cut? I mean, uh, where does the bleed start? Where does the blood start flowing? Because when you're so overwhelmed and you can't get out of this abyss of depression, where does it start? Where do you go? um, I'm one of these people that I'm terrible about saying, "Hey, I really need a friend right now." A lot of mine are a lot of those instances are kind of, "Hey, what are you doing?" Uh, Instead of coming out and going, "I'm having an off day and I could really use somebody to talk to." Um, and but for people who haven't been there, I think it's harder for them to understand. I think that we spend our lives hearing "snap out of it" kind of thing, and we can't snap out of it. It's a especially for me. I mean, mine is the OCD. I will rehash and rehash and rehash in my head uh, over what I did wrong. My daughter laughs at me because if something I feel hasn't gone right and doesn't feel within my control, I'll have this conversation in my head, while I'm driving. And, you know, I'll use hand motions. And so, you know, she'll laugh. She goes, Mom, are you talking to yourself again? Are you arguing with yourself? That's what she'll say. And I'll say, yeah, don't judge me, kind of thing. um, I, what do you do? I mean, I don't live there, so, and I just want to know that this young man is safe and healthy. Um, you know, he has a family, and I hope that he reaches out to them. Um, I hope that he realizes that there's bigger things in store for him than ending it. You know, I myself have uh, been there. I've been there, and it's hard. It's hard to describe. It's if you don't go through this, if you don't suffer through this, and I think a lot of people do suffer from it more than they realize. How do you tell people that, you know, right now that every fiber in my body is on fire and I am in so much pain? Not only emotionally, but physically and spiritually, that it's just excruciating. And you know what? How do you help people to understand that? You know, I think, you know, my best description would be saying, you know, being in the blackness of 100-foot dive and not being able to see what's really in front of you or behind you. Where does this go? What's out there for people? What's out there for somebody that suffers from depression? I think we have so many avenues, but you know, what about for the people who don't have health insurance, who don't have a means to take care of it? We tend to self-medicate, and you know, whether it's alcohol or it's drugs. I know for years, alcohol was a big thing for me. I mean, I was on antidepressants, and after I went through my divorce, my last divorce, 22 years ago, I finally was on antidepressants after all these years, and I had been, maybe in 2001, was diagnosed with clinical depression, and then in 2011, I was diagnosed with depression as well as OCD and PTSD because, you know, I went through a breakup and you know, I mean, I'm in a better place now because I realize that I don't have to live in this pain anymore. We don't have to live in the pain. But I know that when things don't go right for somebody, it's easier to live in the pain because it's comfortable. It's what you know. So how do you move past that pain? How do you get out of it? You know, for people that are like, hey, get out, you know, get socialize and stuff like that. You know what? When you're in that moment, oh my God, it's hard just to even get out of bed. I think the last time, my last attempt was in 2011, September. I was almost successful. And I let I let my life become I let somebody else ruin my strength. Uh, and I'm in a better place, I've chosen consciously not to really put myself in that position, but I still have my moments. I have moments when I feel like I'm not in control of of wanting to think, oh my God, this is too much for me. I'd be better off dead. But I know that I'm not. I know that we uh, have so much to live for. We have so much to teach other people. And especially if you can talk about it, if you can talk about your depression, if you can talk about where you're at in that moment, how it feels, maybe people can understand. Maybe, um, for me, it was, I needed to quiet the voices in my head. And the ones that say, I was a mistake. Uh, I'm not good enough. I'm a whore. I'm a slut. And I try to keep up with my father. I mean, I, I had I had years of conditioning to think of to realize that I had no self worth when it came to me. Um, uh, with my mom was for me a toxic person, and for years I just fell into it over and over again, and it was cruel. It was cruel, and I catch myself sometimes because I don't want to inflict that on my daughter, my youngest daughter. Uh, but I find myself that I do, because I think it becomes an innate part of us that we we've become our parents. But it's about recognizing that moment. Um, uh, not feeling good enough, feeling like you're a mistake, feeling like you're a tramp, because all of a sudden you started developing, being told that you know you deserve a situation. Everything bad that happens to you, you deserve. I think that was a statement she said to my daughter uh, when I was um, not around. Uh, every horrible thing that has ever happened to me, I deserved. And why would you want to do that? I think karma has some amazing ways of taking care of things in the universe, but I don't really wish ill on anybody. Uh, um, well, I can't really say that I don't wish ill. I think those thoughts always cross anybody's head. Anybody's head. Those thoughts are always out there. However, when it comes down to that human part of you, uh, I don't think that we really truly mean a lot of what we say, because when it happens, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Uh, I think about I think about what is it that we can do. I mean, uh, how do we move past, hey, I'm in this black hole and I really need a way out of it? you know, how do we get past the, oh, hey, just one more drink. Um, I'm like one of those people that don't get me wrong. I absolutely love wine. Um, I did have some years where I probably, I had a year where I had cancer and I just bought this house, and I know that I probably could probably tell you that entire summer I spent on the couch drunk. Um, Not healthy. Not absolutely not healthy. And so like I try not to get there anymore. Uh, because I think that that's when it makes it easier for us to get deep. It's taking out the shovel and it's digging that hole and getting us deeper and deeper in it. And then we realize, oh my God, there's no way out of this. I forgot my rope. I forgot my ladder. What am I gonna do? Um, I'm so, and then with the OCD uh, comes everything, every bad mistake that you make, every fuck up that you have. It's like, ooh, let me poke you, and hey, guess what? Wake up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's talk about why your life is fucked up and why you're in the place that you're in. So everybody has a story, and what I'm interested in knowing is what's your story. What is your story? My story is, uh, you know, I am the product of divorce. I am a product of abuse. Um, I am a product of depression, and I've been a product of rape, and I've been in abusive marriages. My mother was an abusive personality. I know that there was abuse between my mother and my father. My I've had abusive marriages, abusive relationships, and I think it's easy. I think it's easy to fall into the pattern of being abusive. Um, I don't really think that we wake up every morning thinking, "Oh my God, I'm just going to be mean and hateful to everybody I know." Uh, but then maybe they do. Maybe we do. Um, my first suicide attempt probably was at 13. I wanted to shoot myself. Not funny in the least bit. Uh, but I remember growing up being told I was a liar, and uh, I was a mistake, and I hit puberty. It's, are you pregnant? No. Are you sure? Yes. You want to get checked? And it's like after a while you start to think, wow, geez, God, if I'm gonna be accused of it, I might as well do it. um, I ran away a couple of times from home. Uh, I ran away to my father once. My father was far from perfect, but I thought he was a decent man. It's been an interesting week. I had a cousin reach out to me who asked me, she said, I guess she had something from my father's funeral and she's going to send it to me. So I'm interested to see what it is. And I'm a little scared because my dad died. Oh, geez. 2000. So it's been 17 years since my dad died. And I miss him. He was one of those people that he made his life harder than it needed to be, and I think, hey, maybe that's where I get it from. But he when he died, a month before he died, I called him and told him I loved him. And he died of cerebellum degeneration. And, you know, the 210 man was probably 85 pounds in a coffin. And I didn't recognize him. But he was one of those guys, he was one of those dads that says, well, it's your mistake. You're the only one that really has to live with it. And I think that one in itself was so powerful for me. Because it's realizing that there's a consequence to everything that we do. All our actions. I know that you know, and I stopped talking to my mom in 2004. So I really haven't had a lot of family. I mean, I'm the black sheep, and that's okay. I'm okay with being the black sheep. It saves on my Christmas presents. But still, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get lonely that I don't have family around. That my rock has been my daughter all these years, my youngest daughter. Because I don't have a relationship with my oldest daughter. Yeah, thanks to my mom. But, so what's your story? Tell your story. Share it. I think the more you share it, the less power it has over you. You don't have to be a victim of your past. I'm not. And I think that probably the last 6 years I've been in a better place than I've ever been. And I take things with a grain of salt, but it doesn't mean that I still don't have those moments. I still don't have times where I think, oh my God, if I just drove into traffic, it would all be over and I'd be so much better. You know, oh my God, if I just walked into that ocean and never returned, life would be so much better. I do. I mean, those thoughts are persistent and they go on. They're every day. They're like, oh crap. Guess what? Guess what we're going to talk about today? Guess what we're going to think about? And guess what we're going to live with? And I really think that it's interesting because my show last week, I was kind of me rambling about what we could do about not having the blues during the holidays. However, okay, yes, I should do this. And then I met that young man, and it brought a lot to the surface about who I am, where I've been, and what I can share for people. It doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't. We can have those moments of depression, but we don't have to unpack. We don't have to live there. It's not. It doesn't define us. It's a defining moment, but it doesn't define us. It doesn't define who we are. It doesn't say I'm crazy. You're crazy. Oh my God, you're crazy because you go through suicidal ideation. Talk to people. Get out of your house. You don't have to live in it. I pray every night, and right now that I'm going to hear from this young man, just because I want to know that he's okay. I even called the bar to find out who the bartender was, because she seemed to have known him. So I guess she works Monday and Tuesday. So tomorrow I'll be calling, or Tuesday I'll be calling to say, hey, any chance that you seen him? Because No. I was just kind of worried. I've been there. I've most of the time when I'm there, though, I'm in that place of I'm by myself. I've isolated myself at that point. I know not to do that now. I know that life can be better. We don't have to accept it. We don't have to accept that we're lost and in pain. Um, it's very funny. I had a conversation where where I had a woman tell me that with the Lord, with the Lord, I could overcome my depression. I can overcome suicidal ideation, and it's like, I don't know about that. Because, for me, it didn't help me when I was younger. Um, I, and it's interesting because I was listening to Tony Robbins, and, where he talks about if you're going to give your parents credit for fucking you up, you have to give them credit for the things that were positive in that aspect too. I believe my mom made me a stronger person. Maybe there were some good things, and I acknowledge that. I don't have to live in that toxic environment. I don't have to deal with a person who treated me like I was a burden. When you call your mom and she says, "What do you want?" It's like, gee, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing this. You don't have to live there. You don't have to be alone. I want to know that, know that you're loved, and know that there's somebody there that's been lost just as much as you are. I spent many years lost. I spent many years not understanding why my brain functioned the way it did. I don't take medication currently because I think I've learned to cope with it. Do I think it's perfect all the time? No, because I still have my moments. I still have those moments of, oh shit, I can't fucking pay my bills. Maybe I should just kill myself. Oh shit, I lost my job. And I'm not going to pay my bills. And I'm going to lose my house. And I'm going to do this. Shit, maybe I should kill myself. Every day goes on. Little things. That moment of maybe today I can stop breathing. Maybe tomorrow I don't have to be here. But then I think of my daughter, my youngest daughter, and I know that she, as my rock, what would I do? What would it do to her? I think the last time that I attempted suicide, it was horrible. I was horrible. I took her to school and I dropped her off and I came home and I tried to overdose. And my boss came and helped me at the time and took me to the hospital, and my daughter was angry with me and told me a week later that she couldn't believe that I did that to her. I couldn't believe that I did it to her, but you know what? I was in so much pain. And if you don't know that feeling, you can't see the hand in front of you. I have this saying of things of people, and that I say to people, it's like, you can't save somebody who doesn't want to be saved, and that's the reality. That's the reality of people with depression and wanting to commit suicide. You really can't save somebody who doesn't want to be saved. You can listen. You can offer help. You can offer guidance. But at the end of the day, there's still this lost part of you as a person with depression that says, I could die, you know? And it's okay if I die. It's not okay. It's never okay. I mean, the people that you'll affect would be horrible. It would just be devastating to them. It's not fair to think about that to the people that love you and surround you. Just, moving past it and knowing that there are people that love you, there are people that understand, there's help out there, there's groups out there. You have friends, and sometimes you just need to say that. I myself know that for people, I've learned to talk better about it. I've learned that I don't have to live in it. I don't have to suffer through it. I'm not alone. And I think that knowing that you're not alone is definitely a big thing. Knowing that there are options to there's that options. You don't have to this is not this is not the life you have to live. You have friends and family and resources. Even if you don't have insurance, there's plenty of out there. There's plenty help out there. I know that. I'm just kind of lost my train of thought because I want people to know I'm a good person. I deserve to be here. I absolutely deserve to be here. This is not a oh my God, I have to live in this. I have to live in the sadness of my life. Because I don't. I think it's super important that we don't live in that sadness. I think that we can get past it. I think we have amazing connections of people that can help us out. You know? Well, I am gonna wrap this up. And again, I'd love to hear your story. Tell me your story. I think that the more we talk about it, the more power it loses. The stronger we get. Um, this is Nicolina Nix, and you're listening to Women, Wit, and Wine. Hope you've had a fantastic night and happy holidays. And I'll probably be back next week. Hopefully after the first of the year, I'm gonna be working on some guests, and so I wanted to say thank you for everybody who's listened and supported me. I'm glad you're a part of my journey, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're listening. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night. This is Nicolina Nix, and you're listening to Women, Wit, and Wine. Good night.